Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I will be doing some upgrades to the UDR. This truck is new to me. It's not brand new, but it's very lightly used. Got it from my buddy Mike, and it's pretty much all stock. It has a different receiver in it, and that is it. This video, I will be installing some E-Viratrue 7075 machined aluminum wheels, beadlock wheels, and some Proline Hyrax tires. So let's get right to it, guys. I'll show you what this looks like. So as you can see, stock. You flip this guy around here and boom. I mean, way better, right? I really love how the gunmetal color matches the camo. Has a really nice effect. I think they're amazing looking wheels, super nice quality. Machining is excellent. I will get you guys in here for a closer look, show you the details. We'll talk about them real quick, and I'll show you a quick install. It's pretty straightforward if you've done any type of beadlock before. A couple things I just want to note and make you aware of, but overall, really happy with these. I think they look amazing, and they are going to be really strong, and they're going to hold up to a lot of abuse. But let me get you guys in here and show you what the deal is. So here we have it. Closer look at the wheel itself. 7075 anodized aluminum. Nice beadlock ring on the front and rear. Some nice stainless hardware. Really sweet looking wheel. You'll see how these are notched here. This is specifically for the Proline Hyrax tire. They have like an extra internal bead. So there's one bead that sits in this groove, and then there's another bead that goes around there with slots that are meant to hold the tire in place so it doesn't spin. So cool design. It's frustrating in a way though that not all tires use that design, so you are kind of locked in to some extent. I'm not positive if the stock tires would work on this. I don't think so. E-Viratrue does make a different wheel, like the same wheel, but without this notched pattern here for the stock tires if you wanted to run those. And of course, you know, oh geez. And just to compare the difference, I mean, really, it's night and day. So these are going to be way stronger. So yeah, these are going to hold up much better, and they look amazing. Let me get you a weight on these for a comparison. Stock wheels weigh 35 grams. These weigh 150. And you could also see here the stock wheels are vented. These wheels are not. So you will have to vent the tires. And I do that just by making a small, I use like a little leather punch, and I make a small little punch in two spots. So it just vents it. And this is a much better setup because what ends up happening, if your rim is vented, you get a lot of, if you have a UDR, any RC you run in sand or mud or clay, you'll see how much dirt gets built up on the inside of the rim. Eventually that dirt makes its way into this little hole, and it gets into your tire. And if you have no vents in your tire, it packs this up. I learned the hard way years ago with an early Baja Ray that I had. And I was running in sand a lot, and the tires filled up almost completely. I think I had about 100 grams of sand in each tire. It was ridiculous. So it's much better to vent the tire because nothing's going to get into a spinning tire. Everything is being forced out in a way, you know, so you don't really get any dirt or crud in the tire, and nothing can get in through the rim. So it's just a better way to do it. So there's a tip there. And just to compare the stock, these of course they're a little bit taller, the Hyrax, but of course this one is slightly worn. I should have compared it to one, but they're not that different. You will see that these have a much more aggressive tread, especially on the outer shoulder lugs here, and they're not quite as rounded in. So that's one thing I want to show you guys is you may have a little bit of extra rubbing here on your fenders unless you do what I'm about to show you in a minute here. And that's essentially spacing out your body mounts here and on the rear so that you can get a little bit more clearance. The fenders stick out a tiny bit more, and you get more clearance around these. The other thing that may cause some additional rubbing is these do have more of a negative offset. I believe it's about 4 millimeters from what I measured. So they will stick out about 4 millimeters more. You get a tiny bit more stability that way, but it can cause some rubbing issues, especially if you're running the Hyrax tires. The tires seem to be more of an issue than the wheel itself. But I will show you guys what I did, and then we'll get into mounting a tire on here real quick, and then we'll just show you some running video. There's not too much else to say about these. I'll just get out for a quick rip and show you guys the UDR in action, and you know, make sure everything holds up, make sure no beads come off. But yeah, let me show you what I did on the truck here real quick. So the rear consists of this spacer that I made, and you can see that's just a screw with a nut. This is the stock screw here that holds it in. And you can find these. There's someone, I'll try to link it up. There is someone that sells this as a spacer, but what I ended up using, I was like, man, it'd be cool if this worked. Just a link from a dirt bike chain. This is a 520 dirt bike chain, and it's just literally what would be like part of the master link. So I'll link up that too. If I find some cheap master links on Amazon, I'll just throw a link down below so you could pick up. You'd probably need two of them because one is going to have the pins pressed into it. So you need just this flat side. And what's nice about it is it kind of fits in there like perfect. It matches the contour of that and everything works. You can see how blown out this body is back here. So this is just on here like loosely. I do need to get some kind of a fender washer here or something and reinforce this a little bit more in the back. But what that does is this is 15 millimeters. It spaces the fender out 15 millimeters so that you get clearance in the back here, right? Then let me flip this truck up here. So then you need to gain a little bit of clearance in the front here. And then the same thing on the front, you get a little bit of rubbing. I forget where it was. It was somewhere over here. I'll show you in a minute. So here, this kind of slider here, rock slider with the body mount where your body attaches here. It mounts to the chassis with two screws here. I took a 5 millimeter plastic spacer, and I'll show you in detail in a second. Put a plastic spacer behind each one so that this entire body mount sits out and away. And what that does is it brought the fender out there and it brought the fender out there just enough where you'll see it has clearance, and you know, it can rub a little bit, of course, but you can see the stock tire in the stock position, the stock tire was rubbing. If you're running stock tires and you do this mod with these spacers and those spacers, you're not going to have any rubbing at all, except of course for the top, which always rubs. So if you've had a UDR before, you know that this body gets all sorts of beat up and the tires rub and everything else. But I think this is going to be a perfect solution. And now, of course, I get a little bit wider track width. It's not a huge difference, but just wanted to point that out to you guys so you don't put these on and think like, oh crap, these aren't meant for this truck. They don't fit right. They do fit perfect. You just have to, again, I think it's more of an issue with these tires because you do have some of these really aggressive squared off shoulder knobs. And as these do wear out, you will have a little bit more clearance around there and probably less rubbing issues. All right, as for mounting these, I'll just show you some quick tips. You can kind of just wrestle these things in. You do need to make sure that these tabs here are aligned. You can see exactly what I'm talking about here. See those little notches cut in there? These fingers fit right into those. So you do kind of want to line them up to some extent. Like you can turn the rim inside the tire and kind of feel like where they line up. Don't worry, it doesn't need to be perfect right now. Other thing, I use some simple green. Just set the tire in, or don't forget to vent your tire. Boop. Vent your tire first before you mount it. It's going to be a lot easier. I just take a little simple green. It just makes life easier. Now, the other trick, this is a bicycle tire lever, you know, for mountain bike or whatever. They're cheap. You can maybe use something else. I wouldn't use anything too pointy. You could risk you know, puncturing the tire. So if you get under the bead and just kind of, you know, look, you can fight with this thing without the lever. But by the fourth one I've done here, I kind of figured out that this was the easier way of doing this. So you're really just getting the rim inside the tire there, and then you come around on the front and try to, these are a little trickier than a regular bead lock just because of those tabs that need to line up. So you're going to have to mess with this a little bit. And there you go. Once you kind of get it started in one spot, there you go. So then once the front sits down like that, the simple green here is going to help with this rear bead too. You can see it's not really sitting in the groove. So I found that if you literally just press down, I'm just taking my fingernail and making sure that groove, you get a little more juice. So like that. So you should see a nice even bead seat there. And then you just take your bead lock ring, make sure you have it on the right way, like this notch section faces out. And of course the screw holes are a little bit countersunk there. So line it up and boom, just put the screws in. And then let me show you the front. Okay, so on the front, another quick little spray. It's just going to help seat it a little bit better. And on the front, there is no additional groove that this sits in, so you really don't need to do anything other than what I initially showed you, which was getting those fingers lined up with the notches, and you'll see the tire bead pretty much sits against here. This outer ring here does have a shoulder on it. That shoulder goes down in toward the tire, and of course the recessed screw holes here. So you're really just lining up the holes, and you'll feel it kind of seat into the tire. And then of course you just need to make sure the holes are lined up. And that's the other benefit of some kind of soap, is it allows you to kind of move some stuff around. I'm going to start the first few here with a little hand driver just to make sure, because if this thing is slightly twisted at all, you're not going to get these screws going down in straight, and you really run the risk of cross-threading it if you're using an electric driver. So the first at least 4 screws I'm going to put in here, I'm going to do by hand. And you'll see when you put the screw in, you'll feel it is rubbing on the bead of the tire. It does kind of sit right there. So you just have to make sure it goes in straight. All right, there we have it. Let me get the last wheel on here, and then we'll go out for a rip.
have it, guys. Wheels held up great. Not really getting any major rubbing on the fenders with my widening kit. I think it worked out great. You barely hear it. Sometimes if you go in reverse, you hear a little bit of catching, but these tires hook up nice too. They're just shredding this place today. Someone stole a bunch of our dirt already. I don't know if it was the town. Not even sure what this is, whose it is, but it's such nice topsoil. This place is a lot of fun, but it rained overnight. So as you can see, it's dirty here somewhere. But yeah, these wheels are nice, man, very nice. And yeah, guys, stay tuned. Gonna have some more E-Viratrue parts coming up for the UDR soon, so make sure you're subscribed. I will add this to my UDR playlist. You'll see some of my older UDR videos in there. I'm going to be doing the variable damper kit on this very soon. And I was just running this on 4S. It's not really geared for 4S. I think I got to gear it up if that's what I'm going to continue using here. Felt a little sluggish today. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, stay tuned, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Later.